call the regular scheduled meeting of the Benton Harbor Planning Commission to order. City Clerk, could I get you to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Hensel,
Present.
Commissioner Marshall,
Here.
Commissioner McGee,
Present.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Here.
Mayor Muhammad,
Present.
Commissioner Shaw,
Present.
Chairman Reed.
Present. We move to agenda item number 3, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Point of order, I don't think we actually had someone make the motion. Are you making, can the chair make a motion? Then we need support.
We need a motion to approve.
Okay.
Support.
Motion
Now
is
we're fine.
made by,
Now we're fine.
okay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Agenda item 4, the regular meeting minutes of the November 12th meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Hensel. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Agenda item number 5, public comments at this time will be in general, nothing specific. Anybody have any comments at this time?
May I approach?
Yes. State your name.
Peter Clovis, is this on?
It doesn't work.
Does not? Peter Clovis, Prairie Real Estate Group, 330 West Main Street. 2 items on my mind tonight. Number 1 is the flooding on Main Street. From a planning commission perspective, I think that the commission should take great interest in this. Not only is it an economic development disaster, but unless Benton Harbor takes an active role in managing this crisis, it will be left out of the solution. And so I'm suggesting from all boards and all parties' perspective that they actively engage and get involved with whatever portion that they can. And also, as part of a master planning process, the city should be very concerned as to what happens, not only with high water, but with the infrastructure that we're dealing with. That's number 1. As it relates to that, I specifically have issues with the AEP substation that was given a site plan tentative, I guess it would be tentative, permit to work on the substation at 300 West Main Street. That is directly tied into this problem of the Main Street flooding because of the drainage issues that are involved with the SESC plan that was approved by the drain commissioner. That said, that work has not proceeded, number 1. Number 2, AEP has proceeded to fill the site with fill, causing extreme drainage problems. It is flooding our property on all 3 sides of it, and there is no relief in sight. They have not performed according to their permit and the plans that they submitted. There has been no drainage that has been put in place, and we have yet to find out exactly why they have stalled on the project. My suspicion is that their permit has run out. They've run out of runway. It's been well over a year, and we have gotten no communication We have directly asked them for a response. Now, my suggestion, my request, is that the planning commission actively take a role in this, get at the bottom of it, find out what is happening, enforce whatever site plans are required to get the drainage right, and or have them restore that site. Last 16 seconds is, I have a sneaking suspicion, other than high groundwater, there's some sort of environmental issue on that site that needs to be looked after. Thank you.
Do we have any additional?
Mr. Chair, just so you know, we don't have to wait for the planning commission. I am actively involved in what's going on with the flooding, but was not aware of the substation, and I will check with you on that, okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Their site plan approval was contingent on them getting the permits and being able to put the proper protections in place for erosion, and none of that has happened. So basically, they've not followed the contingencies that they agreed to.
I'll check with you and get more detail.
Any more comments from the public? And the public comment section is now closed. Second, we move on to agenda item number 6, new business. We have before us the approval for the 2020 meeting schedule. Has anybody had an opportunity to review the schedule? Any changes, additions or deletions? If not, we need a motion to approve the meeting schedule.
I move we support.
Commissioner Marshall and the mayor.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This time I would like to open the public hearing for the delinquent status of our planning commissioner. According to planning commission bylaws, if any member of the commission is absent for more than 3 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings, then that member shall be considered delinquent. Delinquency shall be grounds for the city commission to remove the member from the planning commission for nonfeasance. Members of the commission may be removed by the city commission for nonfeasance, malfeasance, and misfeasance in office upon written charges and after a public hearing. So the purpose of this public hearing is to determine whether or not we should declare that seat vacant or we should accept the explanation of the member that is delinquent. At this time, are there any questions or discussions from the members? Discussion?
Well, if anyone wants to hear why I have these unexcused absences, I had other duties that kind of conflicted with the schedule, and the choice I had to make between the children at the school, high school, this committee board, I kind of leaned toward the children, but later on I kind of changed my schedule so that they're not conflicting. Now at the moment, I teach early class, so that kind of leaves me the leeway to come here for the evening meetings. So I leave the decision up to the board after this.
The current meeting schedule is for 1 o'clock. So you just mentioned that you could make the evening meeting. So we only have 3 of those a year.
Yeah, see, this new mentoring program that I started, the classes were in the evening, so I changed it to morning now. So, but like I said, it's up to this board. I could continue teaching the children, or I could continue doing both.
Okay, you've missed 8 consecutive meetings.
But let me say this, I do feel that my position on this board is vital. Feel like that I do bring a positive impact to the board with the knowledge and the my past that I had here as a commissioner. I think it would help.
What guarantee do we have that in the future you will be able to attend?
I can't guarantee anything, but I can, you know.
Thank you for that explanation. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think, being the person who appointed Commissioner Shaw to this board, having the confidence in his 8 years on the city council, chairman of different public safety, has served on other boards. I do agree that he brings a very unique perspective, having served on both boards. I have spoken with him concerning, future attendance, and I'm confident that he'll be able to, be a viable member. I've missed meetings myself due to scheduling and et cetera. This is a volunteer board, however, there's accountability. So I can definitely support his continued membership with that, understanding.
Any additional comments? Nathan?
I concur with the mayor, and I see that he's here tonight. It lets me know that if he wasn't concerned and didn't want to participate, he wouldn't be here tonight. He gave an explanation as to why he was missing. I see that as a valid excuse. He had a choice between the youth and the city. Our youth are in desperate need of guidance. A male guidance, and that is a plus. So I'm not in agreement that we should remove him from this board because he missed. We all missed. I missed. I had reasons for missing. So if the other members decide to do it, that's on them.
Any additional comments?
Thank you, Chair. But I'm glad to see Commissioner Shaw back here, see his face again. And I understand when things happen in your personal life, but I also understand when things can't work in government because of a lack of participation. And I'm hearing you saying that you understand that and that you have made some arrangements to correct that. And I'll be glad to have you back one way. But we set these guidelines in place to help us to keep members in place. So if And I believe it says if it's 3 consecutives without excuse. And it's easy to call and talk to someone about if you're having problems. So that's what I would be expecting you to do. If you're having a problem, to not come, call the chair and let them know. And I think that'll be fine. I'm glad to have you back.
I have a couple questions. I don't know if Commissioner Shaw's had a chance to have his hours of training this year.
So
Did you get the 4 hours?
I had some.
Okay. And then I have another question about the state statute that says if you miss 25% of the meetings in a year, that it'll be considered nonfeasance and cause for removal. So 8 is more than 25%. I'm also agree with everybody who's spoken in favor of keeping you, but with these conflicts, maybe we could have a reappointment so that we're meeting our stated bylaws and the state statute without violating that. That today we have to go with what's written here, otherwise what's the point of it? And then at some point, as soon as possible, you could be reappointed, and that kind of gets us out of this bind.
But I like to say this too. I take most of the blame, but lack of communication of this board has been part of it too. Last minute meetings called. I'm a business owner. Sometimes I can't just up and leave at the spur of the moment. I kind of needed like a week in advance notice. Not a day or two.
Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to make another comment. We just passed these bylaws, and what date was it? And I believe that some of his absences did not even fall under this guideline, our bylaws. So I think that we should know that date that we passed them, and note how many meetings were missed after that. I don't think we can just merge him into our bylaws if we just passed them.
the state laws is dated 2008. So those were the laws that we were operating under.
And the state law.
Not new. The only new thing was that we have a public hearing, and this is what we're having now. And I pushed for the public hearing to protect all the members of this commission. And the point was that we cannot be removed without a public hearing that gives the delinquent person an opportunity to speak, and it gives the community an opportunity to come forth on their behalf. And it allows the residents to also speak as to whether they want that person to serve or not. And it's not at the sole discretion of the commission. So the only thing we added was public hearings, the opportunity for them to speak, the public and the person that's being held delinquent. Personally, my concern is that we have barely a minimum number of commissioners to conduct business, and we've had to cancel meetings, very important meetings, for the lack of a quorum. So I'm more concerned about us having a quorum than excuses. So my concern at this point is simply trying to get as many members here to be able to conduct the people's business. I know Mr. Shaw well enough to know his good intentions, his good meanings, and I tend to agree with the rest of you. The issue we're confronted with at this point is how do we enforce the regulations with someone who's been absent 8 times as opposed to someone who's been absent only 3 times? So it's not that we didn't give you ample opportunity. We could also say that you didn't call us to give us any reason why we should accept any explanation that you give us. Now, I can't get you to say, well, yes, I have changed my schedule and I will be here from now on, or I'll do the best that I can. That's what I would love to hear you say, but I know life is not that way. So the only thing I can say is I'll go along with whatever the members of this commission decide to do. If we want to excuse it, then at what point do we begin to count again? If we dismiss you, can you be reappointed? I'm not sure how that would work, but I'm willing to hear you all's point of view. Mr. Mayor?
Well, ultimately, it's the decision of the board this board
Yes.
to approve or deny
Correct.
based upon each individual's conscious of what the rule of the law is. There's many laws on the books, but how the law is administered is based on the character of those that's reading the law. So if, we or whoever individually feels that, malfeasance, gross negligence has occurred, then they have to vote accordingly. But if what has been presented as the reason resonates or the commissioner that is voting can accept it, then they can vote according to their conscience. But, I think that all points are valid, as the person that appoints. This is a problem, for different reasons. Cemetery board, planning commission, different boards, getting people to volunteer and give their time. I have to just look at the history and the track record of Commissioner Shaw, long range, his 8 years in office, his time served in the community working with children, business owner, etc., as opposed to these 8 absences, that, some may consider gross negligence and malfeasance, So he's here tonight, as Commissioner Marshall stated, to say he is willing to serve and go forward. Then, people just have to vote according to what they think is best in the interest of the city and in the interest of the planning commission. Do the rules need to be enforced? Yes, they do. But if the gauntlet was dropped down on all of us for judgment, where would we be?
Let me make a correction here. Non-feasance simply means failure to perform.
I know what malfeasance
Okay.
is.
Now, at this point, are there any public comments? Anybody from the public wishing to come in?
Yeah, I will.
Yes.
Boy, I didn't plan on this. But, hi, my name is Nanette Partee, and I'm, reside in the city of Benton Harbor. Know most of you guys, there's a couple I don't know. But, let me say on behalf of Mr. Shaw that, as a business owner in Benton Harbor, small business, if I needed to reach anybody in the city for help, I can always count on him. Whether I needed a building, some help with the younger people in the community, he was always right there. And I mean, it could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, it could be a holiday, whatever. That gentleman is somebody that we in the community can always depend on, 7 days a week, 24/7. And I do understand about, him missing some meetings and so forth. And of course, we respect that. But we would certainly feel as a community that it would be a great loss, again, to lose Mr. Shaw.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any more comments?
Another black man under attack. I'll just put it like that. And I hope it don't work like that. Because what we need is our people doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I haven't heard one thing that sounded like he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So 8 times, 10 times, 12 times. It's a home rule city. Nobody is above the law. So back up, find something else to talk about. Find something better to do than what you're doing.
Any additional comments?
This is not so much about conscience, it's about following the rules. You say he has a long track being here, serving in the city. He should know the rules. Simple communications, I believe, could be had. And I mean, I'm speaking from my own experience as well. I took it for granted that once I left word here in the office, this is why I'm missing. And a lot of that stuff wasn't pushed forward. I still had my own documentation to present to let it be known why my absences were valid. All right. You're right. No man is above the rules. Nobody is under attack. The rules are the rules as a guide for us to handle business by, which is why we should handle the business at hand, which is also the reason why a lot of things are out of whack here in the city, period. No matter what committees we have. And the reason why we don't have a lot of participation is the fact of certain things like this, and also lack of responsibility on all parties. Now, I do believe if he says he's able to make it, he should give some type of validity to that. And I say, well, hey, nothing is guaranteed, which is true. But something looking more humble to say you're gonna do it. Now, as a business owner, you know how it feels if somebody cancel out on you without calling you. You're left unstuck. That could have been a slot that somebody could have been using instead of being wasted doing nothing. So we're dealing with a double duel right here. Where it could have been left here, just as well where it could have been left with you as a business owner in a waste of time and spot. So again, this is not about your conscience and you divvy up and saying, hey, this can happen, that can happen. He got a track record. He know the rules, he understands the rules. That's what I'm giving here. So should he abide by them? Yeah. But if he give you guys a good, clear, concise, let's say viable itinerary to say that he can fulfill this, I say give it a look-see. Other than that, follow the rules and what you got outlined. I had to follow them, everybody else should too. This is not a black or white issue. Everybody up there is minorities.
Thank you for your comment. Any additional comments or discussion?
Yeah,
Commissioner?
I have one comment. I think we should keep him on and move forward for this reason. He violated the rules, so did we. If the standard is 3 absence and he missed 8, why we didn't come in at 4? Why did we wait till 8? So if he violated the rules and we violated the rules, what's the solution to this problem? Somebody help me.
Any additional comments? Public comments are closed at this time. We need a motion to approve or deny. Do we get a motion to approve?
What's the motion?
To approve
Approve what?
his explanation.
I move that we accept his explanation.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion made and supported.
Commissioner Shaw,
Abstain.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
No.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Commissioner, welcome back.
Thank you.
We move on now to item 6C. We want to open a public hearing for a special use permit for
Excuse me.
11.
Chairman Reed, you need to close the first one. You need to close the first one.
Closes, okay. We close the public comment, and we will also close the public hearing. Forgive me. At this time, we'll open the public hearing for a special use permit for 11-54-0007-0102-03-1, better known as the 900 El Rico property, for the purpose of cannabis cultivation. Do the applicants want to make a presentation?
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to give a brief history of the project for anybody that hasn't heard about it. About a year or so ago, a company named Noble came in and bought the old Rico plant. It's a plant, Pawpaw, there's a road there called Rico Road, hence the name. And they bought it to basically cultivate marijuana and process the same. We have been here several times seeking permits as required. This is just the next step to the process. The building is basically divided into 2 parts by the state laws. One is for cultivation, which is planting and raising the plants. And also, the other side is for processing, and they are totally separate entities. So this hearing is for the growing part, the cultivation. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer without involving too much of their patented process.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. On sheet C4,
I'm sorry, where was it?
sheet C4,
Yes.
there is, you mentioned about the drainage. And you said if it can't be repaired, you was gonna take over it.
Yes. Just I didn't give you my name. I know. My name is Ade. I'm the architect of the project. This is Selena, my assistant, and the owner's representative behind us. The drain have been repaired. It's all flowing nicely now.
But on
Yes.
your sheet here, so you did repair it.
Yes, at the time of this submission, it was still being repaired. But now it's done. I can confirm that it's done, yes.
You also mentioned the perimeter would have an 8 feet fence with barbed
Yes.
wire, razor wire at the top. Does that include the 8 feet? Or is that barbed wire extra?
I don't think we have razor wire at the top.
We do not. Yes, you do.
Yes, yeah, I was saying, yes. I didn't think we put the razor wire, but we did, yes.
You better.
Yeah.
And one other thing, your water supply, who are you getting it from?
There is city water there right now. Yeah.
Township.
Oh, township, sorry, yes.
If the township water is there right now,
Mhm.
how does the city of Ben Harbor benefit from this?
I think it's just the location issue. If it had been where the city water could have been tapped, obviously they would have. The township water is.
I think you can tap into the water supply because once that was the city's water supply. So tapping into the water supply is not a real issue if you want to. And the reason I'm bringing this up,
Okay.
I'm a former commissioner, and I know that we tax the citizens with their water bills to keep the city afloat.
Yeah.
Now the city is on the move. I believe the citizens are justly due a break on their water bills. And if you got the water from us, that would help.
Yes, Commissioner, your point is absolutely valid. The issue though is we submitted this plan as directed to your engineer, your consulting engineer, the Habermas Group, and they directed us in what has to be done and how we have to, where the water and all that stuff is.
Let me ask you this
But
question.
if that is possible, I will
It
take
is
it to
possible.
the owner.
It is possible. Let me ask you this question. You said you submitted this, you submitted it as a plan.
Yeah.
Plans can be changed.
Yes, it could be.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that I will take your concern and your suggestion to the owners and see if this is actually if it's possible, engineering.
I think that would be a real good thing if you did it.
Point of order, please. This is a special permit request. You're discussing site plan. So let's go back to the special permit.
But
No,
what we're
we
discussing is
will
in
come,
the plan.
okay, we're gonna come to that when we start discussing the site plan. They also permit a site plan request also. So what you're discussing is the site plan review. So let's go back to the special permit. You're asking for a permit for cultivation. Greenhouse according to the zoning, would fall under agriculture. That would be section 2.5, 2.56. And in a heavy industrial district, you do need a special permit. So that's what you're asking for at this time.
Yes.
So are there any discussion about a special use permit for this purpose of cannabis cultivation? We're gonna come back to this.
I vote.
The clerk needs to talk to you.
Yes,
I need to find out from Mayor and Commissioner Henry if you're acting as the planning commissioner or the city commissioner. As far as this special use permit.
Is that relative to voting? So am I absolved from discussion
Yes.
if I'm not?
Depending on which, if you're doing planning commission or city commission.
I'm gonna reserve my vote.
Okay. Commissioner Henry?
you gonna vote tonight or you gonna vote when it gets to the.
Now, let me get a clarification, because we've been through this before. Where did the no debate come in? Can you verify that? Because we've had this situation before and there was debate and there was a conscious effort of not to vote or to vote. But where did the debate come in at? If you can give me that, I'll be happy. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? There's no additional discussion.
This is a housekeeping issue, but I didn't see any copies of checks or proof that a payment was made. Is there somewhere that information so that it can be combined with this? It needs to be attached to this application so everyone knows that they paid their fees and they're eligible for the special use permit. That's part of our regular housekeeping.
Yes, we paid for it. I brought the check personally. And I think you have a very good zoning chief now that kind of go after those things. Very effective.
The zoning official in your test, are you aware of whether or not do you have anything to document that?
We didn't bring the copy of the checks. We thought you guys would have. Be rest assured we paid. It was paid.
If I may say, they did pay, they just didn't put copies in here. But, yeah.
350 and 1,000 or something. It was two checks.
You know they'll come out of my pocket if it's not correct.
Yeah, we paid the escrow and the application.
It's, okay,
So, Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
can we make sure, please, as we're doing these first, that we're actually getting the information that's supposed to be in this process? That's a staff issue, not a applicant issue, but there's no proof here. And, I mean, not even any boxes checked or a date where it was received, and that's part of our duty as planning commissioners to make sure that we see all that stuff, so everyone's treated equally. So we can, I'm okay with taking the clerk's
We'll
deputy clerks.
accept the clerk's,
They-
verification.
But for future, we really have to have all of the documents that are supposed to be here.
At this time, I would like to open the public comments section. Public have any comments, pro or con? Hearing none, there are no public comments, then we'll close the public comment section of this hearing. At this time, we need a motion to approve the provisional approval of the special use permit.
When you say provisional, does it include, chapter and drug offers?
We approve the special use permit, so then we'll go back and approve the site plan.
I do have a question.
Yes,
So, in terms of the duality, is the site plan, so if I can't vote on the special land use, am I able to vote? Are both votes bundled?
no,
They're not.
it does not move to the full city commission. Site plan approval stays here. So you can vote on the site plan.
Thank you.
So what we're looking for here is whether or not we want to give the provisional approval. The state, it's in conjunction with the state's approval. State has to give them approval before we can consider it. And then they can't move forward until we agree that they have the permit to go ahead and do this. So what we're voting on now is a provisional approval for the special use permit to allow them to proceed with whatever the state requires. Correct? Okay. Yes.
If we vote on this now, what type of effect will it have, on the site, on us making like, decisions on the site plan?
Whole different matter. That's the facility in which they're gonna operate this business. So we still have to approve the facility. They said they were gonna have 32 parking spaces. I see here in the application, the opening statement only said 20, so those are things that I was gonna question. And there's several other things that Commissioner Marshall brought up that we want to put back on the table. But right now, all of they're asking for is provisional approval for the special use permit to grow cannabis, that is operating greenhouse, so to speak. We'll go back to the facility itself.
I move that we approve the special use permit.
So move.
Motion and approve. You want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Marshall,
As
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
yes.
Motion carried.
The public hearing for the special use permit is hereby closed. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing for the special use permit for tax ID 11-54-0007-0102-03-1, commonly known as 300 El Rico, for the purpose of a cannabis processing facility. It's not necessary
It's
that
not-
you give
yeah.
us another presentation, it's basically the same as
Yes.
the last one. So
For you.
we've just given them a permit to grow it, now they want to process it. Mr. Commissioner. Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir. I'm in total support of our water being used as the agent to grow. Otherwise, it makes no sense to even allow for it to happen if the city of Benton Harbor is not supplying the water. Otherwise, you might as well set up shop in the township where you can get the whole package deal. But to use their water and use our property is, you know, it's kind of cross-sided on that. And it's very accessible and very doable without any kind of environmental hazard or issue to run a line, tap into what was already there. Because for years, the prior industrial site was used or using City of Benton Harbor water. It was just not until recent that it was switched. In fact, when the change happened, I know Whirlpool, that we had a contract and that emergency manager destroyed and ripped that up. So, but anyhow, I'm in total support of the development as I have been, but I'm also in support of the City of Benton Harbor's water by city charter being used, given that it is a parcel in the City of Benton Harbor.
Yes, I recognize you.
Yeah.
Of course.
We, from the time being, we tap into the existing line. We are using the existing, so we will definitely look into that.
What existing line?
There was an existing line, when we went to do the survey, it broke and was, flooded.
So where are you paying your water bill?
I don't know where they are paying it now. Architecturally, we typed the plan is to tie to the existing line. So if the existing line belongs to the city or whoever it belongs to.
Right, because if you've tapped into a line.
Yeah.
And you're not paying a water bill.
No, we were planning to tap the line. The line is closed now, it's been tapped.
Is there currently, through the chair, water being used at that facility?
No, because it was winter or whatever, broke the line.
Okay, so you just,
water.
So you probably just need to get with our city manager in his office in O'Malley, our water director.
Yeah.
Who I know has the institutional knowledge of where those lines are at, or he should, where you can tap right into and use Benton Harbor's fresh water source.
Fresh. All right.
And it's perfect timing, I think.
Yeah, it's a good point. We will definitely look into it. When we submitted for engineering review, that was what was, I didn't even know that water belongs to the township, to be honest.
Well, you're not getting water right now.
Yeah.
Right, so that's great. So now that we're moving forward with the site plans, then it can just be built right into the plan with the approval that is contingent on you using City of Benton Harbor water supply.
All right. What about if the city water source, since the township separate from the city, if your water source is very far from this building. What then? I mean, I'm just, we are definitely, I'm pro. If there's water there, we will be tapping into city water. But just in case, I'm not sure how it's divided now. Let's say you are a mile away, it would be possible to go get 2-inch line a mile away. That would just, it won't make any sense.
Well,
But we will try.
where there's no will, there is no way.
You could make this a condition to your approval of the site plan. If you do this,
Yeah, I can definitely support on that condition.
And we,
Could I, before we move ahead, I mean, we've spent millions of dollars already. Before we hastily make a decision, first of all, it is hooked up to township water right now. We're already, the fire hydrants are on, the lines are in. I asked a year ago whether we could hook up to city water, because we wanted to hook up to city water. That was something we wanted to do. We were directed to Avonmarsh. We waited 45 days. There was no clear path to hook up to city water. If the city wants to run water out there, we will hook up to it.
Yeah.
But there was no city water hookup. And we are currently hooked up, and we have to have that facility done by April 20th, or we lose our state license. So we're in full speed ahead getting that thing finished right now.
And we will help you.
Okay. Well, I mean, if the city wants to bring water out, we're all for it, but we can't have any kind of a slowdown at this point, or where the project could, run serious chance of failure at this point.
No, your success is our success.
We're all out Benton Harbor.
So we will work with you.
Great.
To make that happen.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, sir, we'll get Mr. O'Malley with you
Okay.
and get it cleared up exactly what's going on out there. Can you do that tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Wednesday, yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay,
What's
yeah,
a
I
good
will
time?
ask Somali the pertinent questions, because from my recollection that we worked with Avonmarsh for a while, and there was no way for the city to get water there, something like that. We worked with the engineer, we were directed there. So, and that was part of the, sorry, I'm sideways. That was the part of the condition to come to the planning commission, that you had to go get engineering clearance. And we went there, we met with them several times, they gave us recommendations, they made us do several other things. And here we are.
Right.
So it's the city that directed us to your engineer, and your engineer made the recommendation. And I mean,
Well, the thing about it, through the chair,
yes,
the recommendation from the contractor engineer, Avonmarsh.
Yeah.
I don't know what alternatives or what options, or, if I have to vote on Whopper or Big Mac, then that's my only choice.
yeah,
But if somebody introduces something else that can be consumed, then that's another option. But I don't know if there was even any discussion or any talk of, because as an elected official who has to vote on this, sometimes we the last hired and the first fired when it comes to information. So I don't know or if it was Cook or if it was Kent who said that you're going to hook up to the township water source. Did they ever mention the city of Benton Harbor? Because from what you just told me, it was no water even hooked up out there.
Yeah, what I'm telling you at the beginning, we made a site plan. We said we are hooking this water to an existing water line and all that. We were directed because we couldn't make that. And say,
Okay, so I
guys,
think
we were
that-
directed to the engineer of your choice, which you had confidence in those engineers to have the city's interest. And that was the interest, they gave us the recommendation. We cannot now,
Don't
it's
say
either
what you can't do.
But we can't, we are trying to.
Don't say that.
We will be working very hard if there is a way. But from the meeting I attended, I had the opportunity to attend, it was difficult to get the city water there, or it was something that they didn't think it was engineering feasible. But if it is, if we now find out different, we will find a way, if it's just a hookup. Yeah, but I've always had a problem where we will be directed to basically our competitor, and then we are given instructions that we must obey, or we are done, and we obey those instructions, and then we kind of find out different. We have to have confidence.
Well, I've worked with a lot of engineers on it, and I know engineers.
No, I'm very fully
as you do.
support.
So
hooking
I think that it's
city's water.
in the best interest to let's exhaust
Okay.
all opportunities
Yes.
and avenues to get our water source hooked up. Because it's the city of Benton Harbor that's you're working with.
Mm-hmm. I fully support just that idea, that concept. And it wasn't a conscious decision.
Right, and that's why we have steps.
Yeah.
Where drawings and engineers and architects and owners and plans, and then vote, which is the final.
Okay. I fully support that idea, the concept, but we should also, you guys should give us a little bit of credit that we went to your.
Well, and I understand
Yes.
how
So maybe,
sometimes things can get lost in translation. I don't know who. I mean, I know Abby Marsh has been working with you all, but Abby Marsh don't vote.
Yeah,
They don't. Fortunately or unfortunately.
no, I mean they don't.
So they're part of the process. But again, I think our city manager, who said to what the next step to get with.
No, I fully support your cause in this water bill. It's really a good thing. It's really a good thing.
We get back on the special use permit. We keep drifting back into the site plan. That's what we're gonna talk about next.
This is it. We already closed for the special use.
Well, this is for the processing facility. We were just talking about the growers permit. There's two permits. One is for the processing and one is for the cultivating and the growing. So you got two permits here.
So this is not for the site plan.
No.
Well, I appreciate
That's why
you.
I allowed you to discuss it, because it was for the site plan and you can vote on that here. So that's permissible. So what I want to do now is to determine, get a motion to approve the cannabis processing facility. They need two permits. One is to grow it and then one is to process it. So we're talking
So where
about,
would the site plan?
that's next.
That's next.
Yeah, you jumped ahead of me just one.
I'm just anxious, I beg your pardon.
No, sir, you're doing fine. I allowed it. Yes, sir.
When you talking to your mic, Eddie, please, we can hear what you're saying.
I was just asking the chair a question. How are you gonna process before you grow?
We just gave them permission to grow. That's what we just finished approving. Special permit to cannabis cultivation.
So that we just get them a special.
And this
use
is
permit to
second,
grow.
this is his second application.
Now, the second
It's been approved
application is
already.
to process it.
That'll be the
So
third.
this is what we're getting ready to do.
We've already, excuse me, we already did one,
Yes.
which is complete and done. So then these are for an additional grow and then the processing. So two different permits
Right.
tonight. We've already given them full clearance to operate under the first one. So because
This
it's
is
the
first
requirement for separate,
So where the site plan,
is for the new additions to their operation, which are basically within the same building, but because of the state laws, they're subdivided and they require separate processes. So that's what we're doing.
so is that site plan app E or F?
We are at D. Come back to D. We have not become to E nor F. We're on D.
Okay,
So
So
thank
I
you,
move-
Mr. Chair.
I move that we support the special use permit for property number 11-50-7-0102-03-1, also known as 900 Alrico Road.
for the purpose of cannabis processing facility.
For the purpose of a cannabis processing facility.
It's support.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Evans.
did I hear a condition?
No, you did not.
That would be on the next one. Okay. A second.
Motion by Mr. Hensel, supported by Commissioner Mitchell.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We will move now to 6E, which is a site plan application for a cannabis cultivation application for the property located at 900 El Rico Road. Now we can get hooked up with water and go through all of that conversation. And both commissioner and the mayor can vote on this one.
And so the public hearing is closed.
Yes, the public hearing is closed for the special use permit for the cannabis process.
Thank you.
Must be dinner time. Okay. Is there any discussion on this? I believe we had quite a bit on the water hookup. Were you all satisfied? Do we need to make the site plan application conditional upon them hooking up to the city water? Or?
I'll move that it have that condition, the approval of the site plan with the condition that it be hooked to the City of Benton Harbor water supply.
That's what
Support.
Mayor made it and supported by.
Excuse me, could we, if, just to be clear, that condition, that's if it's feasible, if I meet with Mr. Marley tomorrow and he says the water is too far away, then we really can't. So maybe your condition to say that if it's reasonable, reasonably estimable, like if it's what Claire Minded said, yeah, you should hook up to that, that is there. And then-
If
But if it's a mile away, it's not gonna.
yeah, my motion is
Water
to,
main at our expense. To make
Our-
that
our-
requirement.
Please,
my motion is to, that it be contingent on it be connected to the city of Benton Harbor's water supply. In pursuant to the city charter.
What if the city don't have that infrastructure at that?
Then we'll revisit it.
Okay. Could that be in the, I just want some assurance that we are
You
not.
have, I'll be contacting the chairman if we need to do a special meeting to address it.
Okay,
But I think, I'm not gonna do like Cortez, who, once they got off the boat, he burned them up, so they couldn't get back on.
okay.
okay. Did you want to restate your motion?
The motion is to approve site plan application 900 El Rico, new expansion use of an existing building cannabis cultivation application, contingent upon the connection to the water supply of the city of Benton Harbor.
Can I get support for that?
Support. Oops. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Motion by the mayor, supported by Commissioner Gentle.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
My question, can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
For clarity. If Mr. O'Malley deems it prohibited, then what do we do from here? What will we have to do then?
Mayor has indicated that he will come back to us requesting a special meeting to address that issue.
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad,
Yes,
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Chairman Reed,
Yes.
motion carried.
We move to item 6F, which we have just approved. So basically, this is a separate application, but I don't think 6F. Yes, site plan application for 900 Arico Road. Okay. As a cannabis processing facility. I indicated that we had just approved it for the cultivation application with the contingency. So basically, this is
the same.
the same thing. It's
I
just-
move
Yes,
to add the connection to the city of Benton Harbor water supply as a contingency.
do I get support? Mayor made the motion, supported by Commissioner Marshall.
I just want to make a comment. It's, as we're working these days, we're putting contingencies on the agenda to follow up on them and how people have met them or not met them. So that would be a process where we could keep an eye on this particular contingency and then follow through on whatever action needs to be taken. So just for everyone's information, if we keep to our current practice, that review will automatically take place in the planning commission meetings. So we'll know that either it's been met or that it's impossible, or that the city will have to invest in water mains. Whatever the issue, whatever the response, we'll find out at that point and have the opportunity to take action.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Henson,
Support,
Vote. You're voting.
yes.
Mayor Muhammad,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We now move to agenda item 7, old business, site plan application for 1123 territorial. Construction of a new building or expansion or use of an existing building. Building official, Mr. Lucas, did you have an update on that particular application?
I do not. Is that the one that on El Rico Road?
No, airport expansion.
Oh, airport, I got that, yeah.
Okay, you want to update us on where we stand on that application?
There's a meeting coming up, right? A week from now, or
I have no.
was this the meeting for that?
This is it.
Okay. Anyway, they've solved the problems. I've got the new plans and everything, the one I thought that you were given already.
I was under the impression that when this came up, there would be somebody from the airport to make a presentation or give us some information on it.
I think they missed the date that they were supposed to come during the week, you know, so. But yeah, there was a water problem, and they wanted to spend a lot of money, the engineers did, but there's a ditch that run right there by where they're building the, so what they're doing now is they're enlarging the ditch so it takes care of the water problem. And they wanted to put a pond out there. We don't want no ponds on the airplane, because you don't need geese flying around when the airplanes are trying to land. So, but that's what it is right now. That was the only thing holding it up. It's still the same plans that they had, except for that.
Are you able to get in touch with them to have them come and explain to us what the issues are and why this keeps coming up on our agenda, but we can't seem to get past go with this?
I'm not, I thought we had that all resolved.
Discussion?
Yeah, I just need,
Be on me.
this is what I've been hearing about, and now I got documentation in front of me, so there's quite a few questions that I really wanna ask, but they're not here, and I don't know if our staff there will have the answers for me, but I wanna say about prefab buildings in the city of Benton Harbor. And I need to ask that question if that's valid to have a prefab put up in the city of Benton Harbor. We're talking about water. There's another water issue here. Our charter says that anyone, of course, we set the preferences to let someone else not use city water before, but we really need to stop it. And this is another avenue where the charter requires everyone to use municipal water. So if we're gonna stop the madness, let's stop it more than one way. Because it is madness to have people come in and not use our water for whatever reason. So then the prefab information about prefab structures being put up in the city. Couple of other questions about the drainage, the gasoline, oil spills. So if you can give me those scenarios or what is being put in place, or we ask them to come in and tell us. I don't know.
I can get them to you.
You can get them to me?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we table this until we.
Support.
The motion has been made by Commissioner Kinley and supported by the mayor to table this issue so we can get somebody from the airport out here to speak on behalf of this. The next scheduled meeting will be January the 7th at 1 o'clock in this chamber. Commissioner Shaw.
I had a question pertaining to the Southwest Michigan Regional Airport. I was just trying to see when was the last time they came in and gave a report.
They never have.
They came in when I was a commissioner. They came in a while, and they said they would do it like on a quarterly basis, like 4 times a year. And since then, there's been new hangars and businesses and everything out there.
This one came out about 3.
We can definitely, Mr. Chair, we can definitely have them come in. Are you talking about to the commission or to the planning commission?
They used to do both.
Well, we want to talk to them about their application, but they need to appear before us first. There are questions that need to be answered.
Have a vote been called?
Not yet. Mr. Fairfax?
The airport has its own board, you know. When you have somebody that's supposed to be there, he doesn't ever show up. I can't tell you who it is. I don't know.
They still answer to us. They do have their own board, but they still answer to us.
There should have been somebody here.
You want to
Commissioner
call?
Henry?
Hello?
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Oh, the table. Commissioner Shaw?
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad?
Yes.
Commissioner McGee?
Yes.
Commissioner Henson?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I'm asked to be excused. My daughter has a varsity basketball game. This is her first game.
You can't
So-
miss that, no.
May I?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, sir.
Agenda item 7C, I'm sorry, 7B. The monthly absence report of the members. I don't think we need to discuss that. All the members are currently present, so there's nothing necessary.
Mr. Reed. They had me missing one day in July, but it was excused.
Okay. We'll get with the city clerk, Ms. Thompson, and have her correct the record
Okay.
to reflect that. You can put it in your notes that it was brought to your attention. Okay. Agenda item number 7C, update on the letter sent to property owners. I believe we asked the building official to send a letter to the 420 Pipestone owners to find out whether or not they're in business or have they shut down. Was that letter sent? Was there any feedback on that one?
What's that? I'm sorry?
720 Pipestone, Is he
Yes,
in business or did they shut down?
yes, it's closed. If any of you driven by there, yes, they got the sign on the window.
No, did we get any response to them in writing?
I did not get any.
Okay, so they did not respond. Okay.
Mr. Chair. Have they asked for a permit to place the container that's on that property now? It's not on the site plan from the, when they proposed the project and received their approval.
I've left my car there several times, but looks like I'm gonna have to put a condemned thing in the window and go that route. So,
I think that would be the more appropriate thing to do than stick a business card in the door.
because I don't hear back from them at all.
Any additional discussion or comments concerning that particular one? I believe that was the only one we had. There was no others. Okay, moving on to item 7D, requests for proposals, zoning ordinance and master plan revision. Director, did you have some comments concerning the request for proposals?
Yes, I do, Chair. As you all know, the City of Benton Harbor is redevelopment ready certification engaged through Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And in communication with our RRC planner, Brett Hamlin, MEDC has offered a few options to assist with the facilitation of the master planning process, which includes, if the planning commission determines that they want the assistance, help with putting together the RFP for the master plan and the zoning update, in addition to consulting with the city and a list of consultants that MEDC works with that do this type of work. But what was offered to us from MEDC is actually 3 different options, and I will read these options out to you. Option number 1 is that RRC technical assistance match funding can support 75% of the cost, or up to $30,000, of the master plan and zoning ordinance update. Option number 2, Benton Harbor could fund the master plan and zoning code update with no RRC technical assistance match funding, and the RRC technical assistance match requirement can be waived for a future project or plan that will get the city closer to our certification, such as a downtown plan or an economic development strategy or a public participation strategy. If that's the route that is chosen, then the city's investment in the master plan can be considered the match funding for any future project, and RRC can still cover up to $30,000 of that cost. Another option is RRC is willing to provide matching grant funds up to $30,000 for a master plan and zoning code update through the RRC TA process. If the city chooses to pursue this route, the RRC would assist in drafting a preliminary scope of work for the project, and I believe you have an example of that was provided to you all. So an example has been provided and is available for you to see what that could potentially look like. And it's highly recommended, if this is the route that we go, that the city also include a downtown and economic development section in the master plan. This will leverage community engagement for the master plan, and it can implement multiple recommendations outlined in our redevelopment ready certification baseline report. So what you have, the attachment that you've been given, is not a formal RFP. It's just an example of what MEDC might be able to assist us with, should that be the route that we've chosen to go.
In number 1, we could be eligible for this grant if the city matches it?
Yes, so the city has already budgeted X amount of dollars for this master plan, and those dollars that have been budgeted could serve as match for this additional money. Keep in mind also that CDBG dollars $15,000 of CDBG money has also been allocated to help with the master planning as well.
Now, if we want their assistance, we would have to follow whatever procedure they outline based upon the RRC scope. So
That's
we
my,
have the choice of going with or without it.
that's my understanding.
Okay. If we go with it, they would recommend consultants,
Yes.
or could we still select whomever we want?
I can get clarification on that. It was my understanding that they would recommend consultants that we should use. I'll get clarification though.
Okay.
They would recommend a number of consultants, not the consultant.
Correct. Discussion? I recognize Commissioner Henry.
Thank you. Ask the clerk, community development. That 15,000 that was for community block grant money, did that come out of 1819 or 1920?
That's actually a part of 2017 funds. So it's been sitting in the coffer. So
now, didn't we also allocate some more in the last year, or?
no, not from 18 or 19. Just that 15,000 from 17.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say to everyone that we need help. We need a lot of help. But the bottom line is that we have to make our own decisions. We have to even, I'm personally not into outsourcing anything. Personally, I've seen some horrible, horrible things that happen to us when we outsource it. So I'm just letting us know that we really have to pay attention to who we're working with and what their agenda is. That's all I gotta say about it.
So option one would be a viable option we could pursue.
Just utilizing the match funding from the RRC technical assistance. But, so utilizing their funding, but then we would issue the RFP ourselves and then make the choice.
We need to explore the options, right? We've been working with RRC for quite some years now. What is it that they've done in the past that would cause us to be a little leery moving forward?
Nothing.
Okay.
I can't speak to that only because, I've only been in this position for a little over a year. I've been working with them up to that point. Previously, I don't know.
Okay. And I'm sorry. And I see here where RRC scope is not intended to be used as a request for proposals. So what they're saying is that we can't use them to add or subtract. Okay.
So, a number of us, including I think Commissioner Henry, went through RRC training a couple of years ago now, maybe 3. I don't know if those trainings are still available, but with new planning commissioners and a new city manager, it might be worthwhile so that we all understand what we're committing ourselves to and what we're working toward. It's my understanding that there are a number of things that have been reviewed with the state staff in order to move us in the direction of the certification, and that the certification is valuable to the city because it does bring financial assistance for economic development. So with that in mind, I'm just thinking maybe it would be helpful to figure out how we can make the best use of this, but also make sure that we all understand where we're going with this.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think the commissioner is just wanting to make sure that the staff is involved in this process
Yes,
and making sure that it happens.
yes, I agree on.
Am I correct?
Basically, I want it to happen for the best interest of Benton Harbor.
That's correct.
That's all I'm really interested in. It they can have it and throw it in a shoebox and bury it if they want. But if it doesn't benefit the residents of the Benton Harbor or the city government, I have no interest in it. Personally.
I can guarantee you that we'll be involved in it.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I had mentioned previously to the city commission that we wanted to set up a master plan advisory committee to make sure that we followed all of the procedures. I also recommended that we have the commissioners select at least 9 of the members to sit on this advisory commission. So we would automatically engage the commission to work along with the consultant and the planning commission and the director. So that we will talk about later, once we understand whether or not we're eligible to get these funds. And then we can come back and report to the full planning commission what our options are. And then we can discuss where we need to proceed after that. So, Director, if you could look into this and find out what are the options are and how much can be granted to us and what the contingencies are to get those grants. So as soon as you get that, let me know and I'll make a spread to the commission. Let them know what's going on. Is there any additional information or discussion on the zoning ordinance master plan review? Yes.
If I may, I believe it was last month, City of St. Joseph had an open house for the downtown portion of their master plan, or their downtown plan, which is going to be incorporated into their master plan. And it was quite interesting to see that piece. I asked their city planner how that downtown plan was going to work with their new master plan, and I think she said they start master planning in 2021, and that downtown plan is just going to be an appendix of their master plan. I have a copy, have gone through it, not extensively, but was very impressed with the work that was done. And what I found that was very interesting to note was there was a lot of information about St. Joseph's neighboring city, Benton Harbor, in one of the portions of this plan, one of the reports, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of that. However, I also just wanted to add that Halcyon and Levine was the firm that worked with the city of St. Joseph to put together this downtown portion of the plan, and it's my assumption that they're going to be the firm that's going to work with them with their master plan as well. And so just letting you know, Halcyon and Levine does have that demographic information too for the city of Benton Harbor. So if there's still a viable option, that might be something to look into. Not sure, but I did just want to put that out there.
I have copies of St. Joe's plan done by Gibbs, I believe. Yeah.
The current one.
Yeah. And the fact that Hassel and Levine is the one that did St. Joe's master plan. For whatever reason, we didn't choose them, but nonetheless, where are we at right now as far as putting out a request for proposal? Should we wait till you come back with your report?
That would be my recommendation. And have there been, so I know that now we're no longer doing just the update. We want a completely new.
Yes. Why? I would suggest we do the full, although we've had this discussion before. We're gonna have to do it 2 years from now anyway. So why waste time and money to do an update when in 2 years we will be required by state law to do the full update? And if we can get grant monies, we can use the grant monies to match the monies we would have spent for the update. And I believe there's a possibility with the update money and the grant money, we can do the full master plan. So, as soon as you can get that information back to us, we'll move forward with it. Okay, winding down. Any more discussions concerning the master plan? If not, we'll move on to commission comments. Any comments concerning any issues before us?
Mr. Chair.
I recognize Mr. Hensel.
Putting on a different hat at the moment, my Downtown Development Authority hat. I spent some time this past week driving around trying to see what was happening with the water issue. And while there's been a discussion about Main Street, there hasn't been much discussion about the fact that we're having problems that the length of Riverview or Graham Avenue, that the water actually goes over the streets from Riverview up to 10th Street. There are problems with flooding on Friday. So the entire street wasn't filled, but that's how far the water was coming up through the system and coming up through the drains. So it seems that it's very important as we're looking at solutions that we make sure that we're not just looking at what's happening right in front of Whirlpool, but that we're looking at the other areas as well. There were at least 3 businesses off the top of my head: the gas station at the corner of 12th Street and Main, which had water in their parking lot, going up near in the direction of where their pumps were, coming off 12th Street. And that was standing water, deep standing water. And we also had water in 2 of the businesses on Riverview, had their parking lots full. The roundabout at Empire was full. The roundabout, or at all the cross streets, there was water standing in the streets. At Wall Street and Riverview, there was water standing and filling parking lots by the dollar store. So this is a serious issue that somehow has to be dealt with. I don't recall seeing anything like this since probably 1980. So I just want to raise the issue here because we will have an opportunity through the capital improvements plan to talk about what infrastructure is there, what needs to be rehabilitated or replaced as we move forward with our planning. So I hope we can figure out a way to relieve some of this issue so that the businesses are not forced to have to invest or lose money on lost customers. Thank you.
Any other commissioners' comments?
Yes, I'd like to thank this board for keeping me aboard tonight, and I'm gonna do my due diligence moving forward. Thank you.
I'll give you my phone
I got the clerks.
number. Any other comments? Okay, we need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion for moved and call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall, Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Chairman Lee.
Yes, I thank all of you for your time and effort.
Madam Clerk, do we have any extra, any of the documents? Cause I got here, I didn't get any of that. I didn't get the agenda and I didn't get a couple other information, so. I know. Is there any more?
Calendar.
I didn't get any of that. No.
So those are the things that are here. Some people, I didn't get a calendar.
No, I didn't either. But what I see, you guys got quite a little information going
She
there.
called us about 2 weeks ago. We came to the office and picked off.
I came and got mine too.
Oh,
I've been looking at these